I'm sorry, we tried to film this and then it didn't work. So now we're back and it's working, so that's good. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at that question. How does Hitchcock turn the viewer into an obsessive voyeur? That is our question. The reason we picked that is because Miss Smith's class had a look at it and they wanted to have a bit more of a look at it, and Miss Smith and I talked about it at lunch, and then we were like, let's do this one. So yeah, so we're going to do that. So hopefully you guys have already written this one down. You've got the, yeah, ready to roll? Oh.
I do you want me to plug the cord in?
Yeah.
HDMI, do you reckon?
Yeah, I'll just do it that way, hey.
Yeah.
Haha, I think. Maybe. Honestly, nothing can be easy in this place. I know, I'm hurrying. Okay. Alright. Okay. So I'm also being heckled by Siri. Okay. So, first thing we need to do, the first step with essay writing is obviously to write out the question, and hopefully you've done that. Then the next thing we do is what? What do we look for? Jeffin, you've done this with me enough times. What do? Keywords. We look for keywords. Excellent. So, what are the keywords? How? Yes. How? Oh, sorry. There we go. I just realised you couldn't see it. Now you can see me twice. So, how is definitely a keyword. What other words are important? Obsessive, good. Obsessive. And voyeur.
Would viewer be one?
How does it, you could, but you don't really need it because you've got the how. So the how is going to prompt me to talk about it. Yes?
Just I reckon you clarify. I've said this to my kids, don't use us. We use the word viewer or audience.
Yep.
It's just Paul Rudd.
Or we. Don't say us or we. Yeah. Yeah. Your essays are a urine-free zone.
Yep.
There is no need for a we. Hold it. Wait till the end of the sack.
Or female sheets.
Okay. So we've got the keywords. Now, the word how is basically prompting you to talk about text construction. Now, do we know what text construction is? Do you remember this from back in the day? Absolutely not. Yeah? Text construction refers to things like, like what? Like what? How? Yes, good. So, camera angles. We can talk about camera angles. We can talk about basically all the cinematography stuff. So things like, like camera angles, like costume, like, set design, anything like that. Sets, costume, lighting. I'll put this in a better colour to read. This is not a good colour to read. Oh, not red. There we go. Okay, so we've got, that's the how. But also it can be things like, so you can have all your cinematography stuff, but you can also talk about things like authorial decisions. And that refers to things like that Hitchcock decided to make Lisa a beautiful woman, or Hitchcock decided to make Lisa the one to go down into the garden rather than Jeff. So that's an authorial decision. Does that make sense? So you're talking about how a text is constructed. So that can also be things like plot. But you have to talk about it not as you know, this character does this character does that. You have to talk about it like Hitchcock decides to have Lisa do this. Does that make sense? Slight difference makes all the difference in your writing, okay? I'll write next to authorial choices. Hitchcock makes Hitchcock's, I'll just write Hitchcock's choices. That should hopefully prompt your memory, hopefully. Okay, so we've got to talk about how. So we have to address this kind of stuff. How does Hitchcock turn the viewer into an obsessive voyeur? Now, as Miss Smith was saying, she in her class addressed the word voyeur really well, but she didn't get time to address the word obsessive. She forgot. I was trying to cover your ass. Come on. So, yeah, she didn't address the word obsessive, and certainly for a high-end result, they would be looking for you to address the word obsessive. That you're not just a voyeur, that you're an obsessive voyeur. And how do you distinguish the difference between a voyeur and an obsessive voyeur? Now, are we all clear on the word voyeur? That it's not just about, like, sexy times like it is now? Like, that the word just means, like, someone who likes to watch people? Yeah? No, because if you, like, Google it now, it's just, like, about kinky times. But it's not. The original use of the word is about watching people. Yeah, and now it's just all about the sex. So, disappointing. All right. So how do we address that word obsessive? And do we think that Hitchcock does turn us into an obsessive voyeur? Does he turn the viewer into an obsessive voyeur? Are we obsessed? Yeah, I think you could argue either way. So, for instance, I was talking with Miss Smith, and the one way that we decided to do it was to say he does encourage us to be a voyeur, but he discourages us from becoming obsessed. And talking about how, like, Jeff, like, we look down on Jeff for being an obsessive voyeur and forgetting, you know, to pay attention to Lisa and to pay attention to his own problems, and that he you know, stops looking in for a change, you know, that he doesn't look in. He doesn't reflect about himself. He only thinks about, you know, these people and all the silly things they're doing. You know, he doesn't actually look at himself. So that was one way that you could tackle it. But another way that you could tackle it is to say, yes, he does encourage us to be obsessive because of the way that he uses suspense. And so we can't look away. And so you could play into that. So either way you would be right. That's the great thing about English, is that you can always be right, even if your argument is completely the opposite of someone else, as long as you can justify your response. Does that make sense? So, which way should we go? Or should we, like, we'll worry about that as I would say that discussion about obsessive, I would leave till my third paragraph. Because I feel like that's when you start kind of splitting hairs and going, am I going to say yes? Am I going to say no? Am I going to argue, right? So, what do we want to do? How does he encourage us to be a voyeur? What do we want to use? Pardon? The opening scene. Okay. I would, instead of going through storyline or characters, I would really encourage you to avoid writing storyline or characters like type essays, because they don't score as well. Because you kind of box yourself in when you write character essays. So, for instance, if you kind of went, does Hitchcock turn the viewer into a voyeur, and you went, yes, because of Jeff, well, then you can only write about Jeff in that paragraph, which limits you, right? You want to be able to talk about as much stuff as possible. Or, for instance, if I go, I'm going to write a paragraph on the opening scene, you can only talk about the opening scene. You're boxed in, right? But if I decide I'm going to write an essay, I'm going to write a paragraph about cinematography, well, then I can talk about camera angles. I can talk about lens use. I can talk about panning. I I've got so much more to explore than just the one thing. Does that make sense?
But Miss Richardson,
Yes, darling.
so I would have a look at the opening scene,
Mm.
which you could do so much with the camera angle, the setting, and
Yeah.
how it brings in the diegetic sound and it forces you to look.
Yeah.
So I think in that respect it may be okay
Yeah.
for this essay
Mm.
to have a first paragraph on the, like, not the opening scene, I mean the credits and probably the first
The first little bit where it does the...
and have a look at it.
Yeah.
But I agree wholeheartedly, not just with the plot. But
Yeah.
I reckon for this particular...
I reckon you could pull it off with this. I was going to kind of try and avoid it because it was like one of those like
I'm obsessed.
pitfalls that most people fall into, like that they write chronologically. But yeah, we can do it for this one. Like, but most of the time, 9 times out of 10, I would say, do not write, like, I'm going to write about just this one scene because it does kind of box you in. So, do we do a paragraph? Do you want to do a paragraph just on the opening scene? I just want to avoid it because I feel like it just teaches them bad tricks.
No, let's avoid it.
Teach them bad tricks. All right. So I reckon we do a paragraph on cinematography. Are you guys comfy with that?
Can we bring sound cinematography? That is cinematography, isn't it? Sound.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. So, sorry. Now I'm relying on my computer use. That's scary. All right. So, so we're going to do a paragraph on cinematography. Now, I am a big one for a brainstorm. I love a brainstorm. I'm a child of the 90s, so they were really big back then, and that's now how my brain works. I've been programmed. But if you like writing lists of information or whatever, you do you, man. These are your notes. You write it however you want your notes. But me, personally, when I'm planning, I like brainstorms because child of the 90s.
It's lateral thinking.
Yeah, they were just really big in the 90s about doing brainstorms for everything. We did brainstorms for everything.
In the 80s, it was circles. They called them circles with arrows. They called them Sputniks. We called them Sputniks. I think it was around the period that the Sputnik exploded again.
Yeah, we were big into brainstorms, and like you would draw like little like lightning bolts coming out from like the bubble. Yeah, weird. Oh, such a 90s girl. Anyway, so cinematography. What things in cinematography do you want to particularly discuss in terms of being turned into an obsessive voyeur? What things does he use with cameras and stuff to go, hey, you need to watch?
The camera angles.
Yeah, what specifically? I want specifics. What zoom ins? When does he do this? Yeah. Good. The binocular use. Okay. Use of binoculars and the long focus lens. Oop.
Telephotographic lens.
Yeah, the long focus lens, the telegraphic lens, whatever. They won't care.
Obsessed with that too.
They won't care what you call it. To make the audience feel that they too are involved with solving the crime. You know, that they're watching, that they are kind of Jeff watching the crime. All right, what other cinematography things are used? I'd like to kind of use one that's very different from like shot. Yeah?
At the start when the camera goes into everyone's window, he's inviting us to
Yeah, the pan, the initial pan. Yeah, so the going through the frame and then into the pan, which is like where they go. If you don't know stuff about cinematography and you are like, oh, I need to learn that, there's a video on my YouTube channel about it. It goes for, I think it goes for about 20 minutes, and it actually goes through bits of the film and shows you what each of the things are. So if I go, oh, this is a pan, then it actually shows you something in Rear Window that's a pan, and then etc. etc. Feel free to watch it. Like and subscribe. No, I'm joking. Please don't feel it.
Are almost like their own separate shows, and I always kind of think back, that re-released Elvis song, A Little Bit Love, whatever, and it's got the different windows. They're all doing a little different from the different eras. It's like
Yeah, I do.
It's like that every frame is like inviting you to watch your own television channel or your own little cinema show, and it's like wow.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was reading someone's essay and they wrote something really clever about how the each of the windows almost looks like a different what do you call it? Film cell. You know, like film cells. So you know, like back in the day, film used to be like, you know, little tiny boxes. Yeah, they each kind of look like its own little film. And I was like, that is such a clever thought, you know, that they're the same kind of rectangles and stuff. Like, that really works as a kind of thing about how they were so separate from each other. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah. Okay, so the initial shot of through Jeff's rear window. That's why it's called rear window, because it's through the rear window.
Rear window seems like something that's quite forbidden or taboo.
Yeah, dodgy.
So it's that whole, even the title encompasses the whole idea that, you know, there is a line, there's a definitive line, and once you cross it, you become obsessive, and that's not good. Nobody wants to look weird.
Wow.
Except the Kardashians.
Yeah. Don't look too long at that. It's mesmerizing.
I know.
Like, how does that even work? How does it work? Like logistically. Yeah, there's a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions about functionality. Just even sitting in like a chair. Imagine if your butt was that big.
Like, how do they fly?
Oh, I know.
You know those girls are this big, and their bums are as big as they are tall.
They do have private jets. Problem solved.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they work out and they get their fat taken from parts and put into their bottoms. Sorry, Miss.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a lot of questions. The initial shot through Jeff's rear window, the audience is encouraged. I'm trying. Here we go. I'll move this down. So I reckon we've got enough for cinematography, because remember, you don't have to write about everything. You do not have time to write about everything. There is a very small amount of time, and you probably really only have time to do maybe two kind of instances of evidence before you need to move on to your next paragraph. So what you want to do is pick your two best things that you can talk about, that you know best, and give them like the full breadth possible of explanation. Now, if you have a look in the corner, people on the screen can't see, but in the corner of your Year 12 classroom, there's like 4 questions of explanation. They are really useful. If you're someone who doesn't really know what to write in your explanation, those are really useful questions to use to kind of flesh out your evidence, to kind of talk about how your evidence is relevant. Please feel free to use those. They seem to be quite useful for people. All right. So I can actually get this out of the way because it's not relevant anymore. Okay, so we've got our cinematography paragraph. That's going to be excellent. I'm really excited about that. What else can we talk about? How does Hitchcock turn the viewer into an obsessive voyeur? How else does he turn us into a voyeur other than just like the screen stuff? What else could we talk about? Suspense, yes. Actually, I had somebody do this essay the other day and I loved it. They wrote about how Hitchcock used crime fiction, the genre of crime fiction, to make us an obsessive voyeur. And I was like, that's so clever, because, you know, like, you've got, you know, you want to be the detective, and then they talked about how, like, you know, there was a crime, and that's always very alluring that people want to know about, and it was really clever. So, but I do like the idea of suspense. Let's do a paragraph on suspense, because I feel like Hitchcock is the king of suspense, and I feel like you've got loads of stuff to talk about in terms of suspense here. Actually, and we can talk about one of my favourite bits of suspense that is used, which makes me happy. Okay, I'm just going to delete this. Yes, darling?
Cinematography in that suspense.
You could. Yeah, you could.
Because we talk about the music as well, that's cinematography, right?
It can, yeah, you can class it as part of the cinematography, definitely. Yeah. Copy, paste. There we go. All right. So, I'm going to do a paragraph on suspense.
What about settings? So 1950s and the whole idea of McCarthyism and then
Does that make us obsessive voyeur, though?
possibly because we're encouraged to look. We're encouraged to
That's
spy.
true. So you could do a paragraph on why we're encouraged to look.
Yeah.
That would be cool. So for a third paragraph where we were talking about does he encourage us to be an obsessive voyeur, you could say, yes, he encourages us to be obsessive because of 1950s McCarthyism, got to be careful, Reds under the bed, communists, got to catch them all kind of scenario.
And but he draws suspicion, so we need to be suspicious of our neighbour, which could lead into the element of suspense.
It could be. Good. All right, so suspense. Well, what are times that suspense is used to encourage me to keep looking? Yep.
When Lisa's in Thor's apartment, we were talking about this the other day, and
She listens to me.
they show what's happening, and then they change the view to Jeff and Stella, so that it encourages.
Good. He robs us of being able to see what we want to see so that we feel drawn in to see what we want to see. Yes, excellent. When Lisa is about to be caught by Thorwald. It's Thorwald, not Wolwald, by the way. I was reading an essay yesterday and it was like, Wolwald did this. And I was like, you got to get your hearing checked, boy. Hitchcock, yeah. Or I've just got someone writing Hitch. I'm like, oh dear. Okay. When Lisa is about to be caught by Thorwald, the camera deliberately focuses, turns away from Lisa and shows Jeff and Stella in. Yes, darling.
The screen? Is there a screen?
Talk about how like the
That's why we
that's the one which is like dog.
Yes, dramatic irony. Yes.
That's it.
Jack wins. If I had lollies, I would give you a lolly, but I don't have any lollies because I checked and I didn't have any.
And also making Jeff be confined to a wheelchair when Thorwald the killer comes in to confront him. It's like, seriously, dude with a knife or dude with a wheelchair? Usually go with the dude with the knife.
Or when he's super invested in the phone call with Doyle, and then we don't see Thorwald.
Yeah, nice one.
All right. So we've got when Lisa is about to be caught by Thorwald, the camera deliberately turns away from Lisa and shows Jeff and Stella frightened. We feel frustrated and want to watch Lisa. We feel drawn back, and I feel like you could even talk about obsessive voyeur there.
Yeah.
That kind of turns us not just into someone who's watching passively, that we're like, show us Lisa. We get frustrated. I want to also use dramatic irony because I love that, and it's, you know, a little bit of like meta language that makes you sound really fancy. And like whenever you can throw in some meta language to go, look, I'm just like a literary genius. Just slow down, guys. It makes you look good. Dramatic irony. Do we know what dramatic irony is? Can someone tell us what dramatic irony is? What is dramatic irony? Yes, darling. Good. When we know something they don't know. Yeah. I know something they don't know. That is dramatic irony. Okay. What part of dramatic irony do you particularly want to use, Jacko?
One of the last scenes when we see Thor leave his apartment. That Jeff
Good. The audience, sees Thorwald. Yeah, where he's going to go after Jeff. Yeah. The audience sees Thorwald leave his apartment to attack Jeff. Jeff doesn't. Hey. Alright. Jeff doesn't see. Jeff doesn't see. And we're like, oh no. Oh no. So, we've got a paragraph on suspense. We've got a paragraph on cinematography. Bam. And then we need to decide on our third paragraph and what we want to say there. And we can go one of two ways. We can go, yes, he does not just make us a voyeur, he makes us an obsessive voyeur. Or alternatively, like Miss Smith and I were saying, you could even go, no, he doesn't. This is really good. Actually, we've not discussed this before. This is something that Lisa and I came up with. So we were like, no, he doesn't. He encourages us to be a voyeur, but he does not encourage us to be obsessive, because if you're obsessive, you forget about Lisa and you don't mac on with Lisa and you're too busy thinking about knives. Yeah. Yeah.
Hitchcock is telling us that we need to be into Lisa, the close-up of the kiss,
Yeah.
highly sexualized.
Yeah. And she's hot. What are you doing?
And the break,
Like, you're missing out.
if you're going to end up like this,
Right.
you spend your time looking at that.
Mate, it's a, like,
He's prey.
what are you
And
doing?
He's also prey. This emasculated. Actually, it emasculates him.
It does.
The fact that he rejects
He becomes, yeah, it does. And that he becomes obsessive. That it's like,
He's becomes this impotent, emasculated thing. He
Hmm.
means himself because he can't.
okay, so do we want to go yes or no? Do you want to go obsessed? Let's do it. Let's do no. I like it. And you know what? An examiner would kind of like froth over that a little, because like people wouldn't write it.
They're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, they're like, oh, something different. I've read like 10,000 bloody essays on Rear Window. Finally, something different.
And also, Jeff's
They love something different.
and flaws are reflected back at him. So when he looks out those windows obsessively, he sees all the things he hates, he doesn't like about himself. Like he sees the broken marriages, he sees the entrapment.
Yeah, so I reckon the first thing we do is the Stella quote, where he gets Stella, who is our voice of reason, to go, you need to look in on yourself for a change.
Wait a minute.
How does he? So we've addressed how in the first two paragraphs. Yeah. Well, we did a whole paragraph on suspense.
Miss Richardson.
Yeah. So we use that as part of our text construction.
No, I'm right. None of them are wrong.
30 minutes.
What people want to do is get outside their own house and looking for a change.
Looking for a change. Good. And
I wrote quotes down.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing this paragraph because it really tested the limits and boundaries of the question. It pushes the question because you could either
yeah. And like we were saying, people wouldn't say this. Like, Miss Smith and I, like, we've studied this a lot and we've only just come up with this idea. So,
the whole thing of when they close the blind, when the newlyweds close
the blinds, yeah.
go away. This
Yeah.
is not for you.
Yeah.
Privacy. And when the next time the blind opens, she's like, why didn't you tell me they got a job before we married? She's like, she's become the enabling wife. The whole closing of the blinds, and when, you know, after dinner for one, like he looks away, he knows he shouldn't be looking at this stuff, and he blushes.
Do you know what's really interesting too
when she's so he's watching Miss Lonely Hearts,
Yeah.
and he engages more with Miss Lonely Hearts.
Good, yeah.
Do you think he sees himself in her? He sees that like that?
Oh, he's just being a bit pervy, I think, and just kind of like, you know,
Not endearing at all.
no.
Because then his response to Lisa is to shut her down.
Yeah.
So as an audience, we're made to feel uncomfortable by a man who's more willing, which is part of his, his job. No, it's part of his job. Like his whole job is to look at things from a distance, to be a voyeur. So this is a man who's not used to engaging in real life.
He's always standing apart.
He's always watching. He's always
Crazy. So that's why he's judgmental of them now.
Yeah, he doesn't participate in life at all. Like he just sort of steps back. I've jumped in and just talks.
Larry Loner.
Larry Luna.
Larry Loner. Larry Loner. Jeffrey. Oh, man.
Should never be top one.
Dirty old man.
Oh, I know, so much skin. All the skin. All the skin. Ooh. The fact that he was...
It's okay. I don't mind. Like not everyone's perfect, but then
Don't take your shirt off.
no. Don't give you Grace Kelly.
Yeah, agreed.
And the
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
brown, kind of awful.
It's not even playing the same sport, is it?
Yeah,
It's like,
curve.
yeah, like he's not even batting above his average. It's just like you are batting in a different. You're playing cricket, and someone else is playing like
Apparently he didn't want to
I don't know another game. Yeah, he is too old for it. Too old for her. Too old for her. She's like 21 though. Anyway. Anyway.
Next month. No, June.
But ages to go.
Now I'll be like the old man. You guys be call me LB.
Yeah, so, okay, so what I've got so far is, so
I really like
good old Hitchcock says, yes, he lures us in to be voyeurs, but his kind of final thing is don't be obsessed though. He says he gets Stella, our voice of reason, to look in for a change. He says look in for a change rather than obsessing about others. Even Doyle, who we think is dumb, like we think Doyle is dumb. He spills brandy on himself. He's, he doesn't even see that there's a murder, right? Even he realizes that you're looking out into a secret private world. Yes.
And Lisa calls him diseased.
Yeah. Lisa says we're diseased. Yeah. Also, the blinds close at the end. At the end of the thing, the blinds close. We're supposed to stop watching. That's enough. Go away.
So he's really saying it's okay to look.
But just close the blind but close the blinds eventually.
And it's like he's being punished too for those naughty looks he's had because he ends up at the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gets punished in the end.
Naughty man.
Yeah, he gets punished in the end. Yeah.
The difference is Lisa looks and acts, whereas he remains this impotent, immobile figure.
She looks with conscience.
Well, she looks with purpose, right? Whereas he's just looking, as a voyeur,
Yeah.
as a little voyeurism about it.
Yeah.
He's also unable to stop himself. It's like an addiction, like when people look at the phones.
Yeah. All right. So we've got Jeff's flaw is that he's too busy watching everyone else and misses the signs from Lisa, that Lisa's like trying to hook in and he's like, oh, what do you think about knives? Like,
She's trying to pash him and she
Yeah.
yeah.
That close up, how would we describe that thing because we first meet her?
yeah.
And it's
And it's-
called a stepping camera.
Yeah.
So you have the first shot, which is darkness. The second shot, I looked it up, is an extreme close up, and the third one's called a step up camera, which I assume
Step up camera.
Step up camera. It's a step up something. I've just typed it up. I was interested in that scene.
Okay, where do we want to put?
that is a highly sexualized.
Yeah.
And she, and the highlight
A step up.
too. And she's basically saying, "Can't you get it up?" That's basically
Yeah.
what she's
She's on
saying.
top of him and he
You know,
can't follow her.
Yeah.
I'm on top of you. I brought my sexy lingerie on, and you're looking out the window with a guy.
So true.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why we will have these discussions at home in Victoria.
Yes.
Yes, very true.
Only you can.
All right. So, do you feel like we've got a pretty good essay here? I'm really happy with it. I think this would.
That's a good terms the essay around what makes it a good essay is it hasn't gone. You'll notice that each of the body paragraphs are focused on elements of text rather than plot,
Yeah.
and that is the.
I'm not revolving around prop. So you know how like we were talking about how you don't plan through plot, that like it's boring, and like same with character. If you write through plot or you write through character, it's boring. It's boring and it's limiting. Yeah.
I still reckon a cinematographer could throw in sound, because that sound
Oh,
of
definitely.
children and the music that comes in, it
Yep.
kind of makes you want to get up and say, hey, where's that sound coming from?
Yeah. And even like, you know, when the music, yeah, you know, like in the bits that are like really suspenseful, he makes the music really confusing and and it's too loud, and you're like, get out of the way.
You would argue that it's discordant or in
Yeah.
conflict with, because phrasing
Yeah.
is discordant or in conflict with the action.
All right. Discordant music.
Discordant slash in conflict with. That's like, you know, when you're driving your car, or you're trying to concentrate and you turn the music
Yeah.
off.
When you're parking, you got to turn the music down.
Well, when we watch, it's true. When we watch scary movies, the music tells us to be scared, whereas this music doesn't.
Yeah, it confuses us, and we want to almost like push it to the side. Like you almost kind of like, get out of the way.
It jumps your mind
The
to the thoughts.
cinematography helps us understand that this obsessive voyeurism, it actually rings, this is, I don't know if it's a fast step thing, but in using those elements of cinematography, what Hitchcock is also telling his audience is that this is real life. So all of these sounds,
Which makes it scarier.
well, yeah, it rings true for the audience. So they themselves, you know, that sense of personal voyeurism and how they're related to what they're experiencing.
I love it.
Uses the diegetic sound.
With the music, is
Yes.
there a reason why there was no music in like when Thorwald was about to kill Jeff? Why there was no
Well, I think again, it kind of builds the suspense. It builds the when it's silent, we're like, because we're listening for the step.
Yeah, but the actual
Step.
scene when
Step.
Thorwald's in his apartment.
Oh,
Yeah.
Usually there'd be like in like most movies there'd
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
be music and like something going on.
When he's alone, so we get no music when Lisa leaves, and she says, you know, not until tomorrow night, and she leaves.
But I think plot-wise, it's because the police have just come up the stairs, so the
Yeah.
musician's no longer playing his piano.
So yeah.
He'll still be playing his song, Lisa.
That's true.
When there are cops
I didn't think about storyline. I just was like, it's a yeah. Yes, all the stuff is diegetic. Yeah, yeah. It's the musician playing that. Yeah, yeah. That's a really interesting question. I'd never thought about it. I just went, well, Hitchcock's doing it, not like how does it relate to the storyline. All right, so we can do one of two things now. We can either do a bit of writing together, but I think maybe we're too big for that, like as in like too big a crowd. Do we do another question? Would you be happy to do another question? Yeah? Does anyone have a preference? You've all got the practice topics. What question would you like to do? Let's do another question. What could it be? We're doing another question. Preferences? You know why? Because Jack told everyone that it was only for my class and they believed him. He told him that as a joke. He told him that as a joke and they all believed him. I love it. I can't believe everyone believed it. I think that's more the point. No. Hands up my class. We've got a few more, yeah. I know, you've only got 18 kids, you lucky bugger. I've got 25. Yeah, but she's only got 18 kids. Yeah, I know. So jealous. I know. Yeah. I know. She got rid of more of them. Lucky bugger. Anyway, not that we don't appreciate you all. Alright. Which question would you like to do? Does anyone have a preference of question? See you later, girlies. Preference of question? Yeah, we can do another one. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I can do it. Maybe. We'll see. Question? appearances. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. How easy it is to be deceived by appearance. Rear Window shows how easy it is to be deceived by appearances. Wow, we're going to go through it, so how perfect. Discuss. All right. So, here we go. The question is, Rear Window shows how easy it is to be deceived by appearances. What are my key words? Caleb, what's a key word in there? Appearances, yes. So this is all about appearances, which is kind of quite relevant because Jeff judges people on appearance all the time. Yeah. Because, you know, if we were all judging him on his appearance, I mean, woo.
Old man chest.
Ooh. So much skin. I think we need to discuss that later. About potential issues. So, what other words are important? Deceived. Deceived.
Nikita's here. Oh, she thinks only one person from my class is here.
And I would also say the word easy. Is it easy to be deceived by appearance? Right. So, Rear Window shows how easy it is. I know, I was thinking maybe next week. We used to do it upstairs, and they're bigger rooms. I think we might need to go back upstairs. And you can open them up. Yeah, that's true. We might need to do that. Anyway, I like it down here. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I'll think about it. Can we charge for like premium seating? Yeah. Premium seating, I reckon. Alright. So, do you think Rear Window says it's easy to be deceived by appearance? Yes, I think there is some argument for yes. Like, obviously, Jeff is easily deceived by appearance. He thinks that Lisa is one type of person and she's clearly another. He thinks that Miss Torso is a slutty McSlut and actually she's got a husband. He thinks that Miss Lonely Heart is funny and it's not funny. She's going to kill herself. So, yeah, I would say definitely, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, you think he'd have friends, but when you really look into it, he's by himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't really deceive the new.
Talk about in this case, I would mention Doyle and how Doyle was not interested in the investigation or he was judging everything.
Alright, so initial appearances are deceiving when you don't look close enough. When you're like Jeff and you're like, oh, I understand, and then move on and you're wrong. Yeah, that's going to be my first argument. So I'm just trying to like reorganize. Okay, so we're going to say Jeff and all of his mistakes. So, hang on, we just named them Lisa, and what does he thinks that all she's interested is in dresses and gossip.
And then when we first see her, she does a big, Lisa, g'day, Carol, g'day, Rita.
Oh, I love it. That dress is still my heart. That dress. Oscar de la Renta. Oh, so beautiful. Anyway, you know someone wore that to the Met Gala? True story. Someone wore that dress to the Met Gala a couple of years ago.
Get out.
Yep.
The dress.
The dress.
Better
Yeah.
not be Beyonce or
No, I can't even remember who it was.
stretch beyond the
Yeah. Oh, yeah, nah. Never look the same again. Yeah, that he thinks all she's interested in is dresses and gossip, which is ironic because, like, we never hear her gossip at all. And what does she say about the dresses? Why does she dress up like that? Good. Only because it's expected of her.
Doesn't he foreshadow that though?
And she promotes the
Seeing
fashion.
Sulla,
That's how
Yeah.
and he's like,
Oh, yeah.
In Paris, wasn't it? Like all
Yeah.
these new dresses, lobster meal.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then she
he's-
comes over.
She does bring the lobster meal.
She's
Yeah,
wearing
that's
a
true.
dress.
She's wearing a pretty dress. Yeah, that's true. And the lobster dinner, who was it actually for? It's for Jeff. Yeah. So all of his mistakes, Lisa in the dresses and gossip, and who else? What else? What other mistakes does he make? Oh, Miss Torso. Miss Torso and the wolves. Where she's juggling wolves, she's dealing with all the men that are trying to like hook up with her. And then she ends up kissing one that's like really forceful, and then she pushes them all out. Yeah.
But we watched that in slow-mo.
Yeah.
We kind of thought she does go in.
She does go in, but he's very forceful about it.
Has to do it. You can
Yeah.
She's just playing the game.
Yeah, and that's what Lisa says. Lisa says she's playing the most dangerous game. Yeah, she's juggling wolves. Yeah.
Doing the hardest job with them.
Yeah. Poor thing. Miss Torso and the wolves, and obviously Miss Lonely Heart, and that her issue is like funny, that it's amusing. Like
The pantomime is amusing. to
Yeah.
me,
but it's actually really sad. Yeah. But even when she's sad, he's still like meh.
Puns are amusing.
Yeah.
Genuinely
And that's
messed
when
up
they
these
look
things.
away when
Yeah.
That's because he's objectifying her rather than singing.
He's just watching it like it's a TV show. Like me with Married at First Sight.
She brings got into that.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We need to talk.
I've been watching that, but I can't watch it tonight.
It's going to be massive tonight. You need to tape it.
Someone like,
No, you can watch it online. You can watch it online.
Miss Smith.
Important. Miss Torso in the Wolves and Miss Lonely Heart and her sad and her loneliness, I guess. God forbid I say lonely.
Exactly, but definitely his mistake.
Oh, it was just more of a joke. That he has all these opinions about people, but they're all wrong. Like, you know, he thinks Lonely Heart is funny, and she's not funny. You know, he thinks Torso is a slut, but actually she's not. She's got a husband. Like, yeah, he has these interpretations, and they're completely wrong.
could you say Thorwald?
Well, he gets Thorwald right, doesn't he?
Yes, Thorwald.
Yeah, Doyle's the one who gets it all wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, does he get Thorwald right? Because you know how, like, my class, we talked about it at the end, how, like, you think he's a monster, and Jeff has talked about him like a monster the whole way, and then at the end, we see this vulnerability with him where he's like, I don't have any money. Do you want money? I don't have any money. You know, like, he's you know, begging. He's begging, and we get this humanity, and this moment where we actually kind of feel a sense of kind of
And he
sympathy, and then he tries to kill him, and we're like, okay, probably not cool, but like we've all thought about it. We've all thought about killing Jeff. Like, no,
He has to finish training. Like, Jeff gets to finish training now.
yeah,
Natural fact, the thing with Jeff, you know why he knows he believes in him.
I'll say, listen on Rockstar.
yeah, he does. He totally does. Yeah, but also when you look at Thorwald and his situation a little deeper, you also do feel sorry for him. So there's that. Yeah, you know, there's the bit at the start where she mocks him and he puts a flower on her tray and she chucks it away. And like, yeah, when you look closer, yeah. Okay, so let's make that our second paragraph.
What about the newlyweds too? At the start, when Steve, we think it's very happy, but he's deceived her because he hasn't got a job.
Yeah, and she's like, I never would have married you. Yeah, I never would have married you.
If I knew you didn't have a job, why didn't you tell me? Then the window goes up and they're at each other's throats. So that's just
When you look closer, things are more complicated than appearances. Just so I'm tying in those keywords. Can I just kind of give a little bit of a shout out to keywords? Keywords, a good rule of thumb, use keywords every topic sentence, every explanation, every link. Throw in a keyword, topic sentence, explanation, link. So it's always relevant.
That's
It's always relevant.
You know what? That's like the take home from today.
You're welcome. I'm here all week. This is how I get paid. So, but when you look closer at when you look closer, things are more complicated than appearances. So, let's do the newlyweds, and the rocky financial situation. Musician looks like a party animal, but is actually alone. Yeah, and we see that bit where he's having the party and he's actually out on the balcony by himself drinking.
And at the end, additionally at the end, who is he talking about the song with? Who is he doing everything with? Miss Lonely Hearts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they hook up. Cute.
Oh, maybe.
I also see his frustration.
No, because she says you don't know what that song has meant to me.
He's a bit of a creep.
Implied.
She's fawning. She's fawning.
Cute. Musician looks like a party animal, but is actually alone. What was the other one? Oh, Thorwald.
Horrible marriage.
Was actually in a degrading marriage
Hitchcock sort of
to
saying this,
a
and
woman
he's not totally evil for
who
killing.
mocked him.
I'm not saying you should be as evil as
And then I'm just going to put in brackets, flower on the tray incident. Yeah. Cool. Okay, this is a really good paragraph. I like it. So, what do we do for our third paragraph? Shows how easy it is to deceive by appearances. Initial. What should we do for our third paragraph? Deceive by appearances. But sometimes appearances can be correct, I suppose. Like Jeff. What you see is what you get with Jeff.
Stella, what you see is what you get.
That's very rhymey. Yes. Stella, what you see is what you get. Yes, darling.
So you could go two ways. You could either go like so that every man or the key characters present and don't alter, or you could even go, like Hitchcock. You could do like almost like a verbatim response to it, like a literal response. So what does Hitchcock show us?
Yeah.
He
True.
shows us that Jeff is a voyeur who refused, through the photographs. He shows us that Lisa is a glamorous woman.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do like a why
Yeah.
paragraph where it's like, so why does he show us that it's so easy to be deceived by appearance? Well, because he wants us to think deeper about individuals and, not judge people by gender roles, not,
Well, they're a product of their time. If you go back to the time it's set in, once again, bring it back to that suspicious nature that anybody could be capable of a heinous crime, and it could be the person living right next door to you. Or
Yeah.
You could bring it back to that.
Do you see how many answers there are to these questions? Like, there's no straightforward answer. Like, there are so many different answers and they're all right.
Could you argue then?
Yes.
Do you know what you could actually do?
Yeah.
So you could go Lisa and Stella
Yep.
and Doyle represent these voices of reason. What do you mean there was a murder across the road? Right? Because everything looks calm. In terms of appearances, the everyman is saying, and they're easily deceived by this superficial appearance.
It's true.
So maybe, and that is a McCarthy thing. So is there this underlying thing of do not be deceived
Okay.
by appearances,
Everybody's
as most
suspect.
people are?
And the
Hitchcock.
whole apartment building itself just looks like any other apartment building.
Yeah.
Like in a nice part of the town. It's a little bit, the walls are a bit crusty, but it's a middle class kind of, eclectic village. But don't be fooled by that.
Stella's saying just because this happened doesn't mean he killed her. Lisa's saying, listen, just she might have blah 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 blah. Doyle's saying we've investigated it. These, at face value, it doesn't look like he killed her.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there was any murder. At face value, it doesn't look like that's happening. So it's sort of the subversive push for McCarthyism and that that whole thing of looking into other people's private lives. But then it's also responding to that topic of, well, maybe we all need to be a bit like Jeff and
Look,
yeah.
look deeper.
So you could just have the last one where we are deceived. So the everyman are deceived by appearances. No, and literally no one else in the apartment building, the people next door, everyone around him, literally no one is suspicious of him except at appearances, it looks like his wife has gone missing on holidays.
Sorry, I'll just move this up so people can see it. Okay, so Hitchcock has used the deceived by appearance message to indicate that people should be suspicious of others even when it looks benign because of the communist threat.
Excellent, I like that one. Even when
Jeff sees something that it's not a rare event. It's pretty much every Wednesday. What are you talking about? Just come Wednesday and this is what happens. Yeah, you're welcome. It's like I'm an English teacher or something, isn't it? It's like I've done this before. Yeah, I know the words. That benign means like
Harmless.
yeah, harmless. Yeah, harmless.
it's not going to do any damage.
Yeah, like beige. It's like nothing.
That's a good last paragraph.
Yeah.
That's a great
Nice work. English team.
Everyone else is dismissive, but Jeff prevails. Yeah, cool. This is great.
Good, isn't it?
Good essay, guys. And this is why you come to AIM, because not only do you get this information, but you actually, like, I feel like when you watch it, it's one thing, but it's another thing when you're actually a part of the conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's good for us as teachers because we like feeding off each
Yeah.
other as students in isolation. So we're part of that.
Yeah, that conversation, yeah. Cool beans.